on that? There we go. Boom. Ask and you shall receive. So good morning, everyone, and welcome to Wake Up Everybody. We are here today to deal with reality. So we are going to waste no time and jump in. So, this is the third time I'm with everyone, and I just get excited to see everyone and to hear from you and everything. It's just, I'm always like, I could almost not sleep the night before because I'm so excited to be with you. And I just get super excited about reality because it just gives you power. It just lights you up when you tap into reality. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, one of the things I want you guys to do before we get started is, if you have a chance to get a pen and paper, get your pen and paper. We're going to do a little bit of work today. It's going to require some writing. So check in on that. It's not a lot of writing. It's just 3 things that I need you to write out, and it's going to make a huge difference. So if you have the opportunity, get a piece of pen and paper. If not, just keep it in your head. If you're laying down and you're just listening, that's fine too. We are not excluding anybody. Yes, this is my beautiful amethyst right here. Thank you. And we're not excluding anybody. Just you have to be responsible, if you're not going to write it down, to keep what you're going to create in your head and do the work. Okay? If you're not sitting up and you're just listening, which is fine as well. So we touched a little bit in trust about reality. Last week, we talked about comparisons and bringing reality to comparisons. And this week, we're going to really structure reality and the difference between the interpersonal reality and reality. Now, interpersonal reality, that's our opinions, that's our feelings, our perception, our judgments. Those are all interpersonal reality. Now, reality is the actual factuals. They are a fact. It's not our interpretation of the fact. It is the fact. Okay? I call them actual factuals. So how you can measure an actual factual versus your interpersonal reality is by using your 5 senses. Did you see it? Did you smell it? Did you taste it? Did you hear it? Did you feel it? If you ain't do that, if none of those came through for you, then you are definitely in interpersonal reality and not in reality. So I'm going to open it up to someone who may have a question about reality versus interpersonal reality. So Ash, if someone's raising their hand, can you let me know who has a question about reality versus interpersonal reality?
So far, not a hand up yet.
No problem.
You can call on someone, Ash. I know that folks are down to play because they love Sister Meika, Coach Meika. So use your intuition and select someone so that she can chop it up about the meanings for both.
Yeah, anybody who's struggling with that, because, we think we know, but we slip into interpersonal reality all the time. And so I want everybody to have this tool so they have the capability to actually interrupt those thoughts that are too deep into interpersonal reality versus reality. I'll go. Okay, that is surrealserenitymassage.com.
Good morning, Goddess.
Good morning. And what is your name?
My name is Cherie.
Shireen?
Cherie.
Cherie. Awesome. Thank you for playing.
Of course. It's always fun to play with you, sis.
So what is your question around the difference between, or do you have any questions? Because when you break through for the whole community.
Yeah.
So what is your question around reality versus...
How do you get out of that loop? Because I realize with my children, sometimes I can I can take things that haven't happened or my forward thinking about it, my perception, and it included none of my senses, none of the things you just said. So I've been working on that, realizing that I have been
It's almost like the kids are in trouble before they even did it because you are so ahead of it.
Yeah, I'm ahead of it. I'm like, I know she didn't do this because of this, that, and the other. And it had nothing to do with what was really happening. And I was like, and it's been brought to my attention twice in in this time frame. So that needs to be worked on. So
good. That's awesome. I'm glad that you're starting to see that and just to get
and
that.
I don't like that. I want to change that.
Right.
I want to work on that.
You know, that's awesome because what you're doing is it's just like interrupting. Listen, this is life. Things are going to be thrown at us. Boom, 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 boom. It's not about perfection. It's not about this perfect life. It's not about being the perfect parent or the perfect mom. Listen, I have 3 boys. If they were sitting here, they would tell you she was a hot mess. Okay, that would be their perception of it. That would be their perception. And then they would have great things to say about me as well, right? However, the thing is that we when we are with our children, we're always trying to protect them, and we're always trying to guide them in certain ways. And this is life. The best thing we can teach them is how to interrupt the madness. As we break through and we interrupt our own madness, they get to see it, experience it in reality, right? And then it becomes part of their brain chemistry. You get that?
I get it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. One more question around the difference between reality and interpersonal reality. Ash, somebody want to go?
Yeah, Meika, we have a great question from Ashanda in the chat box. Ashanda, would you take yourself off mute, or I can get to you so you can ask that question.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Ashana. How are you?
Sorry. My question is, what about if you want to use the creative powers of the universe to focus on what you want to manifest? Don't you have to not focus too hard on reality in order to manifest something different? Don't you have to visualize what you want to see and walk towards it, no matter what reality is telling you? That's kind of been my experience. That's why I'm asking.
Right. So that's a great question, right? Because I'm all about manifestation. And that is the one word that you said in the beginning is creating, right? And creation is expansive. It's stepping into the uncertainty and the unknown, right? So there's no knowing around that. Now we're talking about our day-to-day, how we deal one-on-one with circumstances, how we deal one-on-one with our people that's in our lives, right? And we operate from a very internal state, not out of expanded creation. We operate from the past and our brain chemistry and our habit. So if you have the habit of, let's say you have the thought called the reoccurring thought that circles, and you have the habit of this thought that says, I'm not enough, right? And now that's not in reality, because if you were here, we did an exercise with one of the participants about, do you need an extra foot? Do you need an extra heart? Do you need an extra finger, right? And we realize we don't need anything else. We have everything that we want. So is that thought reality-based? It isn't. It's an interpersonal thought that says that I'm not enough. And that it becomes a habitual thought. So you start to hear everything through that space. You start to see everything through that space. You start to feel everything through I'm not enough, and you start looking for all the evidence to not be enough. And you're like, see, there we go, right? Now that's not in the realm of manifestation and creating from the uncertainty and the unknown. That's something totally different. Do you get the difference?
I do. You're talking about like negative thought patterns that kind of keep us back because we're living in the past belief system.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you for saying the difference. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. So those are great questions. So I hope everybody really gets the difference between interpersonal reality and reality. And you can use reality. You have these senses. You have the five senses. Only you, because I'm not going to be on your shoulder when circumstances are coming at you. So only you can interrupt the thought. So how do you measure it? How do you interrupt it when it's happening? You do a check. You measure it. Am I in reality? Did I see it? Did I smell it? Did I taste it? Did I feel it? Right? No. If I didn't, then that's not reality. So what does that do? The next thing you want to do is you want to grab hold of awareness. You want to bring awareness to this moment in reality. Awareness is awesome, right? It says, let's sprinkle some awareness at it. Let's look at this from a whole different perspective, and let's bring, all right, he said no. That's what he said, right? Dealing with that as it is, no, right? You might desire another answer, but the whole thing is that you'll hold on to the bone of desiring the other answer than dealing with just the no. All right, he said no. Now from there, guess what you have creation. Create a new opportunity. Create another avenue for a yes. That person said no. Do you understand how many people are held back in their careers, are held back in relationships with the opposite sex or the same sex because somebody said no? Or you have a business and you're proposing something to someone and they said no, I don't want to register for that. I don't want to be a part of that. It gets stopped. All they said was no. And you make it part of your interpersonal reality versus reality. All they said was no. And what it does is the next step, okay, no. Let's interrupt the thought. Let's recover and move on. That means that move on is inside of creation. Does everybody get that? Let me see some typing at the end. Okay, yeah, thank you. You get it. So it's starting to translate. Okay, awesome. So Ash, can we have somebody who can acknowledge how much they're not in reality?
Great question. I see a chat from Teresa Price.
Mm-hmm.
Teresa, are you willing to jump in? Hang on, let me take you off.
Unmute yourself, Teresa.
She's off mute.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Wow, this is really good because I think sometimes I tend to be very I take a lot of things in personally, and I can see where I think in my life the no's or the rejection has kind of like had me make stories up and to take things too personally where it can actually hinder the relationships. I know over my life, I've kind of like, when you say interrupt, I've kind of like, I think tried to do that, but now I guess I have to be a lot more conscious and aware and I tend to take a lot of things into my being, even films. I can't watch a lot of things. I tend to just absorb things. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to have to deal with more reality
Awesome. So, if you're an empath, right, then you have to bring awareness to who you are,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there's what happens to us as human beings, right, is that we forget that we must set boundaries, even for ourselves.
Okay.
Right? And so the boundaries, most people are so like, oh, most people are just more like, oh, I'll stay away from people, right? Because I don't want to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a survival mechanism. And we're going to jump into that, right, next. And so an empath is somebody who feels things and experience things on such a deep level. Like they can actually, if you look up the word empathy and you look at the word sympathy, right? And empath actually is empathetic. They actually get the experience without, also just like they are not the experience, but they get what's happening for the other person, right? On such a deep level. And sympathy is more like I feel sorry for that person, right? And I think also I'll allow Shawnee if you can jump in and just describe empathy versus sympathy really quickly for me. An empath.
Sure. So in the session that I led on the 7th day, I talked about spiritual giftedness. And many of us, I would say, because I trust the universe and the law of attraction in this space, are highly sensitive beings. And so some of us can be in conversation with people and keep the boundary between us and them, their voice, their experience separate. And some of us, because we're gifted in this way and it's part of how we are called to live our purpose, we in those communications and in that dynamic will absorb and take into our bodies, our minds, and our spirits the experience of other, so much so that it can take us over, and your depression becomes my depression, and your anger and rage becomes my anger and rage. And it's really you as conduit to have the energy pass through so you can know how to speak to this person or support the person or support the people, because I'm the type of impact path that absorbs the collective energy, and to use that as information so that you can guide, teach, support, coach. But if you're not aware of it, you can absorb it and then become rageful, become depressed, so much so that you want to leave this earth, commit suicide, and it's really not yours. It belongs to somebody else. Sympathy, can be like almost like pity. It's like, oh, I hear what you're saying. I'm processing with my mind. I might be processing with my emotions. And then I make up a story about your circumstance and then absorb that story as the truth and then negotiate with you based on the story that I made up about what your circumstance is. So as a highly sensitive Teresa, it's important to be responsible and accountable for that being one of your gifts so that you don't get, it doesn't become like a tsunami over your life. And I'm complete.
Awesome. Did you get that, Teresa?
Thank you so much. Yeah, and I even think, well, definitely one of my sons is the same. So he's a musician too. Thank you, if not both of them. Thank you so much. I do get that.
So somebody asked a question about how do you disconnect? You bring it to reality, right? Like if you're starting to experience, somebody's angry and you're starting to experience, you have to bring words and feelings out into reality. So a good measure or a good checker is to bring things out. So when I said to you, all the participants, that I say to myself out loud, Meika, that's an inappropriate thought. Right? That interrupts my thought immediately. Even if I'm talking about myself, right? I'm like, oh, that's inappropriate. You just said that about yourself? No, that doesn't work, right? That's inappropriate. It gives my brain an opportunity to hear it out loud, because what's inside of your brain, what's inside, like your mind space, it's not in reality yet. I can't see what's in your mind. right? Until you tell it to me or you write it out. There are many gifts that there are writers that are talents. They're amazing, but I don't know their talent because they haven't brought it out into reality yet. They haven't did it, right? They are artists in people. And if you don't put it out actually on in reality, I don't know about it, right? So we want to bring things out into reality. A good checker is to ask yourself, if somebody is angry and you feel yourself being pulled into the vortex, ask yourself, is this mine? Out loud, so your brain can actually hear it. And you be like, oh no, that's not mine, right? Disconnect from it. It's not mine. As soon as you speak out loud and you start to hear yourself, it changes something in your brain. Do you get that?
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. So it's so great to speak out loud and start to say things out loud. Some people, your family might think you're crazy in the beginning, right? But this is your healing. This is for you. This is what gets you to move.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
That's what's important.
You.
That is
Thank
interruption, recover from the thought, move. Interrupt it, recover, move. You always have the capability of moving.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So now we're going to get into this conversation called fear. Okay, now that we got reality, interpersonal reality, we're going to move into the reality of fear. Now, I want everybody to write out the 3 things that they fear the most. Just take a second, right? We're going to take 30 seconds and we're going to write out the 3 things you fear the most. Ash, can you time that?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Just let us know when 30 seconds is up. And if you don't have pen and paper, you want to just say these things out loud and you want to hold them in your memory. If you're laying down and you're just listening, and that's fine too.
That is time.
Awesome. So here's the thing about fear. And I'm going to ask you guys to give me 1 second because I'm going to read something to you. Sorry about that. So, fear. What is the definition of fear? Can somebody write out what they think fear means? What is fear? Yeah, because everybody has their own interpersonal idea of what fear is. Shawnee, can I call on you and can you answer that for me? What is your definition of fear?
Absolutely, sis. Years ago, and I think it was E.R. Robin that brought this to my attention, that it's simply false evidence appearing real. And when it's engaged, it has a high level of intensity, so much so that it can show up in my physical body and it can take over my mind, and it definitely can create toxic blockages in reference to my spirit.
Absolutely. Awesome. So I'm going to read, thank you, Shawnee. I'm going to read what Webster says, right? That fear is. Fear, an unpleasant emotion caused by belief that something or someone, right, is dangerous, likely to cause pain, or a threat, fearful, dread, fright, alarm, terror, panic, agitation, trepidation, the anticipation of danger. Fear implies anxiety, a loss of courage. So let me read the second path, because this is where it gets deep, right? This is not from Webster. The human brain is wired to always protect itself, to defend and avoid any and everything dangerous. If there is imminent danger, the brain will kick in without any effort on your part to fight or flight. The brain is highly efficient, sending signals throughout your whole body to every cell that there is danger. The problem is your point of view of what is dangerous. So now I want you to look at the 3 things that you wrote, right, about what you fear. See, the thing, what happens is why, like, let's say you fear love, right, or an intimate relationship. You fear being hurt. What happens and why you won't move forward in your life, or why people have the experience of feeling stuck, is because they have collapsed that view of love is now not just fear, is dangerous. So as soon as you tell your brain that love is dangerous, your brain, without thought, is going to protect itself. It's going to survive. So now when you look at what you wrote about what you fear, and you look at what's dangerous about it. Now I want somebody to work with me on their fears. Who has their hand up to work with me around fear?
Idalmis.
Idalmis.
Mm-hmm.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having us.
Awesome. So, okay, so what do you fear? What are the 3 things that you fear?
Oh, okay. This is big. I'm gonna read you what I wrote, and I trusted my intuition here. I wrote not being
Alexa?
enough. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote not being enough.
Not being enough. You fear not being enough. Say, I fear not being enough. That's how
I fear not being enough.
Mm-hmm.
I fear not belonging.
Mm-hmm.
And I fear loneliness.
Okay. Right? So now I'm going to ask you, what's dangerous about not being enough? Where is the danger?
It's nothing, it's all in my head.
Right. But I want you to look at it, right? So when you are experiencing not being enough, which most human beings are fearful of that. You are not the only one. This is not just happening to you. Because my negative pattern is that there isn't enough, right? So it's not just I'm not enough, there isn't enough. So I am the person who will have a dinner party of 10 people and buy 300 plates because it's not enough. Right? So that means my fear conversation of it's not enough is always acting out in reality. I will literally buy, I am the Costco shopper, okay? Costco was like, right? Because it's a lot, because there's not enough. If I'm operating from not enough, then Costco is heaven because everything is in bulk, right? So there's never enough. There can always be more. So even when I would perform or I would do a job, it was not enough. It had to be extra big, right? Because what was really in the background and what was really running the show was this fear-based conversation, because the danger of that was that people would find out
Hmm.
People would find out because I had it that I was small, and what I do in life is small.
Hmm.
And the danger of people finding that out, so I had to do everything huge, big. I can't just buy 10 plates. I have to buy 100.
Hmm.
And it was like it was like I had to do it. You see how like the fear is driving an action?
Yes.
So
I
what
think
if,
in my case, it manifests of giving too much and not giving to myself, giving to others and not putting myself first.
right? And where's the danger in that?
You're never like it's if you're yeah. I'm just realizing it's been a journey that's where I think that's where my healing started in self-esteem, healing my self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized it also that it's coming from the past when I was a girl and I was bullied. And from that, I think it just, and it's like there was always for me a separation how people perceive me and how I perceive myself. And it was such a disconnection. They will see me as an amazing, and I will never believe that fully.
Right. And that's because you are, there's something dangerous. You have it that there's something dangerous that if you, because here's another thing that, and you know, people who come from humble beginnings, people who come from um trauma, we have it that if we are too much, right? Like that is conceit, or if we want too much, you know, that something's wrong with wanting too much. There's something wrong with being too much. You know, Shawnee worked with someone a while ago about the good girl, bad girl,
Yes.
right? And so that I'm not enough conversation, right, comes from habitual thinking from being a child. Our parents had, and I'm guilty of it. I've told my kids, calm down, stop being too much, right? And you say it so often that people start to believe it. Like it's not okay to be too much.
Yeah.
So just be enough. Just be enough or below enough,
Yeah.
below the radar. Do you get that?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Because it's
Yeah.
dangerous to be, because I would be looked at as arrogant or conceited or whatever is made up.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And society and where I'm coming from. Yeah. It all makes sense.
Can you see the danger in it? So that's why
Yeah.
you wouldn't go there. What was the second thing that you feared?
The second is not to not belong, and I think this one comes always like saying like trying to be part of, or and in this case I'm an immigrant, so I came to live to the U.S. from Cuba, so it was like I had to everything that I brought wasn't enough in terms of education and everything. So I have to really start from zero at some
Mm-hmm.
point with all I got, but it was always like trying to prove that,
Mm-hmm.
how I can belong in this new reality, in this new society, in this new language.
And do
And
you know
all.
that 0 is an actual in reality number?
Mm-hmm.
It's a number. It's an actual number,
Mm.
right? So we look at certain things. You want to start to take on the things that you say that you fear and look for where you see it as dangerous, because it's not dangerous. We act as though, you know, asking that person out on a date is going to kill us. Like it's a tiger chasing us.
Yeah.
Gun. Like that's dangerous, you know? But, or being in a, you know, just being in the career that you say that you want to be. We're like, oh no, that's dangerous, because failure, we look at failure.
Yes. Yes. That's a big one. Yes.
As dangerous. That is as though if we fail, your heart immediately is going to stop. Woo, done. I'm done. I bet.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so this is another way to interrupt your fears by asking out loud in reality, is this dangerous? Is this going to kill me? Me applying for that job, is that going to kill me? Me failing, is my arm gonna fall off? Is it dangerous? By you asking those questions and bringing awareness to your fears, by asking those questions, you get to interrupt it by looking at it in reality.
Like action, take action. Take action on your fears by speaking out.
Say that again.
You said by taking action, by speaking out loud what we fear.
You're asking your fear a direct question. Is this dangerous?
Gotcha.
10 times out of 10 times it's not. Now, somebody walking behind you, you know, a stalker, that's dangerous. That's real danger. That's the difference. And we have collapsed our fears into that bowl of dangerous, and it stops us every time. Your brain will, as soon as you tell your brain that that thing is dangerous, it's done until you interrupt it.
Yeah.
Right? And the fear, like, so thank you for sharing.
Thank you for thank you for doing this. This is amazing.
You're welcome.
So much insight and light. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Shawnee, how many more minutes do we have? Do we have enough minutes to work with somebody else with fear?
Indeed, Coach Meika. You can actually take more time, just name what you need and we will rock with you. So, but technically we have 12 minutes to 8.
Okay, so I will take till 8:20. And for those who need to jump off at 8 o'clock, I would love for you, and this is, you know, speaking, all this information is going to be at the end of the video, but for those who have to jump off at 8 o'clock, I am having a trust class because the trust that we did when I was on before, we only did it for an hour, and my trust class is actually 3 hours. And that class is $25 and it's happening May 9th. So you can email me at meikaj74@gmail.com, or you can email me at healingthoughtsnow@gmail.com, and you can register for that class. I'm also giving a class on May 7th, and that is clearing the fog. And that is basically dealing with fear, how we deal with fear, how we deal with obligations, and how we deal with guilt in our lives, and how those three create fog: fear, obligation, and guilt. And those three are what I was saying to you guys, how it starts to act out in reality. And we want to start to learn and train how to interrupt those thoughts. And so clearing the fog is a 4-week course, and it will be the 4 weeks in May. And you can email me as well at healingthoughtsnow with an S, or meikaj74@gmail.com to register for all those who are going to leave at 8 a.m. Okay? So we're gonna rock this fear thing out, okay? Till 8:20. And I thank everybody who has participated. And if you want to work with me one-on-one, please contact me, reach out to me. Let's get this out of the way, because you guys are creators. And the more that we minimize these fear thoughts, the more we heal the fear, the more we heal the trust, the more we heal the comparisons, then you show up and show up as the creator. I can't wait to see what you guys create without fear, without comparisons, without mistrust. Okay? So thank you, Shawnee, for that. Ash, if somebody else wants to raise their hand and jump into the space, and let's deal with our fears.
Yes, Deborah, yes.
Deborah, let's go.
Yeah. Hi, good morning. My name is
Good morning,
Deborah.
Deborah.
And I've been going over some fear about my grandchildren. Two of them are not connected with the family right now. And there was a death of their father recently. And so they were over here Friday, and I had to talk with them because right now they're not staying with a family member.
So I need,
and they're
Deborah,
not
I'm
staying
gonna
with
need
their
you to
mom.
state
Can you
your
hear me?
fear. I can hear you, but
Okay.
I'm gonna need
Wait,
you to
hold
state
on.
your fear.
Hello?
I can
So
hear
they're
you.
not staying. Okay, they're not staying with their mom.
Wait,
They're
Deborah.
with.
Deborah,
Yes.
can you
Yes.
hold on? Can you hold on 1 second? I want you to listen to me, okay?
Okay.
So I want you to state, did you write out the 3 fears?
Yes, I did.
So I want you
And
to
I
state
said,
them as I fear X.
okay, I fear not being able to see my grandchildren grow up.
Okay.
I fear my children dying before me. And I fear having a serious accident. Those are
Okay.
my 3 fears.
Okay, good.
And I think this one about them not seeing them grow up is my biggest fear. And as you were speaking this morning, I realized that I was not in reality. And I realized that yesterday. It came to me that my thoughts are not their thoughts. My thoughts are my own thoughts. And they're really not in reality. When you said that this morning about, I wrote it down, but you said that actual and factual.
Mm-hmm.
And I was using my interpersonal reality to convey to them how I felt about this whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I offended them because of what I said. And
Mm-hmm.
I had to take a look. I did a lot of introspective thinking since Friday to yesterday. And I was like, oh my God, I think that I've caused some harm in what I said. And
Okay,
I
so
was
I'm gonna
just
stop you
being,
there, Deborah. I'm gonna stop you
mm-hmm,
there. Because here's the thing about when we bring awareness to our spilt milk, I call it spilt milk, right? I don't call it
mm-hmm,
mistakes. I don't call it failures, right? We spilt the milk, right? Now, you
right,
notice when you spill the milk, how it expands. Remember when you were a kid and we would get in trouble with our parents, like we spilt the milk and nobody wanted to say that they spilt the milk? How
yep,
it just got bigger, because nobody came clean about spilling the milk, right? And
yes,
so now went into punishment. Now it just got bigger because nobody said, I spilled the milk. Now, when you spill the milk, all there is to do is clean it up. And as soon as somebody acknowledges, I did it, 9 times out of 10, it gets confined and it's like, all right, well, clean it up. Go clean it up. Don't do it again. Clean it up, it's over. What happens is that we think by acknowledging that we spilt the milk is dangerous. Our brain has picked up that the acknowledgement that I spilt the milk is dangerous because we look at, oh, I'm not going to be liked. We look at not being liked, not being favored. That's dangerous. So we stay in our little boxes, feeling depressed, feeling shame, feeling overwhelmed because we don't want to not be liked. We don't want to, that's more dangerous than anything, not being accepted. However, I can't tell you how many people, don't like me. And I can't tell you how many people, and I used to be like, that was like somebody shot me. Even though I found out that person didn't like me and it felt like somebody shot me, for some reason I still was breathing. It didn't kill me. It only killed my emotions, but it didn't kill me. So is it dangerous? No, in reality.
No.
You get that?
Yes, I do.
So what I hear to bring awareness to what your first fear is that you might have said something where you spilt the milk. What is
I
there to
did.
do? Okay? What is there to do?
Clean it up.
You get to cleaning. And guess what? You could clean up the milk and people can still be upset. And it's okay in reality, because that's reality. That's an actual factual. They're still upset. Okay. And sometimes we need to learn how to give things space, because we want to start to train and practice respecting process. Not if everything doesn't happen in our own time, but respecting process.
Yes, in a way, I feel like I should make amends to them. And then my other thought is, no, let everything quiet down. Let everything simmer. I don't need to jump in right now because I feel that it may be more harmful. So I think I just want to leave it alone for now. I mean, they're in my thoughts and prayers every day. And I'm praying that we will be healed from this experience. But, like I said, some of the things I said to them, they
Well,
they
Deborah, hold on,
fact.
because I have
Okay.
other people behind you that I want to
Okay.
get to. So what I want
Okay.
you to just look at is, it's ultimately your choice whether
Hmm.
you check in, but you have to do the work, right?
Right.
And the work is either whichever choice you make, which is fine, right? But you want to just keep bringing reality to it. You want to keep bringing awareness to it, and you want to stay in the work. It may be not doing anything and doing some work over here with you before you even open your mouth.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm seeing that there are questions on Facebook. I can't see what those questions are. If you can let me know what the question is on Facebook. One of the
Vielka, can you
admins.
come off mute and share the question you see on Facebook?
It's not a question, it's just comments. Just saying that, let me, keeps going away. To be present, to Deborah, to be present. Catherine shared that she's sending a hug to Deborah. And
I saw a question about poverty.
Yeah.
and just someone else shared, yes, yes, something I'm learning to yield to.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Meika, yes, Vielka, you had mentioned that someone in Facebook land on the threads shared that their fear was around poverty, success, and failure.
Correct.
Okay, great. So thank you. Poverty is a big one, right? I read a book, which I think everybody should, I just said should. $10 in the should jar. Maybe that's how passionate I am about the book. I read this book, and it's called The Soul of Money. And The Soul of Money is so phenomenal about poverty. It's so phenomenal about healing that conversation that we have around poverty. And a lot of people fear money. We want it so desperately. We want more money. We want to win the lottery. We want these things. And it's all an effort to feel better about ourselves, right? And she flips it. And there's a story in the book about Mother Teresa. And she was in a conversation with Mother Teresa, and Mother Teresa, she was working with some children, and these wealthy people came, and they, you know, all they wanted to do was just take a picture with Mother Teresa and show off, right? Like, they are philanthropists, they were wealthy. Look, we gave to the kids and we took a picture with Mother Teresa. And the woman who's writing the book, she said she was so frustrated and she was so angry at these wealthy people. And she said, and it kept bothering her. And she emailed Mother Teresa, no, not emailed, wrote her. And Mother Teresa wrote her back. And she said, you know, the same illness that people suffer from with poverty, right, is the same illness that people suffer from who are wealthy. It's the same illness. And the illness is called scarcity. They both suffer from scarcity, whether that's emotional scarcity and the wealth, because the wealth, the writer of the book says that she's been with trillionaires, kings, sultans, and they still come from this conversation called, it's not enough. Isn't that the same conversation that people living in poverty are coming from, that what they have is not enough, right? So the opportunity that you will experience in that book is healing scarcity. And scarcity is so evasive. It's in our love. Like, there's not enough love. There's not enough, you know, I'm not enough as a parent. There's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. And you can find that in your conversations. So the fear of not having enough, it's not dangerous, because you are a creator and you can create anything, right? You just want to start to look at that. A lot of people fear money because they don't want to be responsible, because it takes a certain level of responsibility around money, right? And they don't want to be responsible for that. So they keep it where they can manage it. This is what I can manage it. So that's why you still, you know, you'll have, okay, this is what I'm managing, and you can daydream with your wants. I want more money, but in reality, this is where I'm staying, right? So always ask your fears, is this dangerous? Is this dangerous? Am I going to die? No. Now, if you're not going to die, then you can impact it. You can bring awareness to it, and you can impact it. I'm a time check. Where are we for time?
We're at 8:04.
8:04. So I have enough time to work with one more person. Someone wants to work with me around their fear?
Ash, what do we have in the chat? I know Helene's hand was up, and there's
I'll work with you.
Okay. Who is this? I can't see your name.
Carol?
Hi, Carol. Is this my Carol?
Yes.
Hi, Carol.
My Carol, who knows that you owe $10.
Here we go. Hi, Carol Boo. So, Carol, what are your 3 fears? And you want to state it as I fear X, Y, Z.
I fear abandonment. I fear painful death and isolation, you know, being isolated when I die. And I fear homelessness. I see that as like very fearful.
Awesome. So, thank you for sharing, Carol, and being authentic about that. Shorty said something very important, and I don't know if everybody in the community got that, right? She said about interacting with our fears, right? They're saying the sound, I don't know, my sound is down. Let's see if I can bring it up. It's all the way up. I don't know. Can you hear me, Carol?
You know what? I'm having a little trouble hearing. I don't know if it's on my end, but before I was hearing okay, but now it's like a little fuzzy.
Okay.
It's not Carol. It happens periodically, and it usually clears itself up. So just speak louder, Meika, and keep going.
Okay,
You're good.
no problem. I just want everybody to hear. So
Yes.
I'll get closer and I'll just speak up loud. So Shorty said something about interacting with fear. The same way we did the love exercise, last week, right? For a minute. And it did something for people. People kept sharing like, oh, I feel lighter, I feel this experience, right? I feel joy, I feel open. Now, when you interact with fear, it does the opposite. The thing about fear is it starts to live in ourselves. And the same way you have to participate with fear. You get that, Carol?
Yes, I heard that. You have to participate with fear.
Right. The same way you participate with love. You have to participate with fear. So the thought happens, right? And then you go and engage in the thought. It's like a dance. And you start dancing with fear. Right?
Yeah.
So who chose to dance? Who chose to dance?
I didn't.
Right.
I didn't hear that last.
I said, who chose to dance?
Who chose death?
Dance. If you are dancing with fear, who chose to dance?
I chose to dance with fear.
Exactly. Right? You choose to, so that's you in reality interacting with fear. Now, what is a food that you do not eat? Like nobody can convince you to eat it.
Oysters.
Okay. Nobody can convince you. Liver. Somebody said liver. Nobody can convince you to eat it. If somebody offers it, and you know how people go, oh no, the way I make it. And you still say no, right?
Yes.
Right. Somebody said chitlins. Mm-hmm. Nobody can convince you to do it. So that means you don't interact. You are actively not choosing to interact with that food that you say that you don't like. However, we know that these fears do not work for us. They do not meditate us. They do not move with us, but yet we take in and we start to dance with it.
Yep.
So now if you look at your fears, right? Do you see that you are a participant in dancing with those fears?
Yes.
Now, can you start to look at those fears like they're oysters?
Yep.
Do you see how powerful you are?
Yeah. I was talking to somebody about when my sister was dying, I was paralyzed by fear. I don't know if you heard me. Did you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. When my sister was dying, I was paralyzed by fear, and I didn't know how to not participate, because every time I thought about it, as you know, she was dying of cancer and she was in hospice care, and that fear was paralyzing. And I didn't know how to not dance with it. I didn't know how to not participate.
Because we're just discussing it today.
I couldn't.
Of course you didn't. See, what we do, the brain does, is it goes to the past. We can't do anything about the past. It happened. It's about now.
Mm-hmm.
You get to choose whether you dance with the fear.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't do anything about, like my mom passed away, right, when I was 27.
Mm-hmm.
And I feared not being able to survive without my mother,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's the past. In reality, right now, I'm here, I'm talking to you. So I can't do anything about what happened,
Mm-hmm.
but I can impact now.
Mm-hmm.
I can use information. The past is just information. It's not for me to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know how you see the files? It's like having files. You can pull this file out, look at the information from the past, put it back in the file cabinet, close the door, use the information to bring awareness to now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for you to stay in the past. It's not for you to stay in the file cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
It's for you to impact now. So can you choose? Can you see that your fears are not dangerous? That's the exercise. That's the most important thing. Now,
Yeah,
in reality right now.
I can see that my fears are not dangerous, but I'm still having a little difficulty not going down that rabbit hole, not dancing with it, not thinking, oh, she's gonna die, oh, this, oh, that. Like and even with the global pandemic now, sometimes I feel myself dancing with the fear of what's to be. Is it gonna last a year and a half until the vaccine?
Is that appropriate?
No, it's not doing anything for me. It doesn't serve me. And so I tell myself out loud, like you taught us with in the last workshop,
Mm-hmm.
I say out loud, stop it. It's you cannot impact the speed of, by which the vaccine is
So that's
made,
a great
and you
point,
can't really impact
Carol.
any of the side.
That's a great point, right? So sometimes when you guys interrupt thought and you say, you know what, that's not appropriate, or stop it, stop that thought, or I think stop it is a little different, and you'll learn in clearing the fog about a word that your ego plays with stop it. Like when you say stop it, your ego wants to rebel against it immediately, right?
Oh, well, let's say that's not appropriate.
Right, so that's why I use that's not appropriate. It's just like telling a kid, stop it. As soon as you tell a kid, stop it, they want to do it more, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I use it's not appropriate because the frequency of it's inappropriate is just a little bit lighter.
Yeah, okay,
Right?
got it.
Then stop it.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens is once you interrupt the thought, there's a space, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you say, okay, that's an inappropriate thought, and you create a space, it's time to create. It's not because you'll fall back into the old thought if you're not creating a new one. If you're not taking actions or making effort towards a new thing in reality, that means an actionary thing.
Okay.
That's why it's so easy to slip back into the old thought.
Mm-hmm.
You get that?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Carol, for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So we have, I think, 6 minutes left. And I want to share with everyone, I am offering 2 things for the community. And I don't know if is Kaisha still on with us? Ash?
Yes. Hi, Meika. I'm here.
Okay, awesome. So Kaisha, she won. She was the winner of last week, and she won, and she had a one-on-one, 1-hour call with me. And so Kaisha, I just want you to share with the community for about like 3 minutes, just what you got from our call.
Yes, thank you. So the very first thing you taught me was thoughts are not failures, because I shared with you my guilty thoughts of the should in my life that was happening at this time. And you, just what you said today, thoughts are not failures, and to interrupt those should-haves, that I've told myself. Then we talked about love, and I just love your analogy that you used for me to teach my children about when love loses its sizzle. You compared it to steak. I really love that example, and how steak is flavored differently in different parts of the world. And sometimes it just loses its flavor. It doesn't mean that the meat itself changes. It's seasoned different. And sometimes the season, could be bland. And so I've been trying to work on that in my head, on how to convey that when the question comes up, I thought you loved each other, so we talked about that. You explained to be responsible, just like you did here. And we talked about taking accountability, because I told you my thoughts on that. And I wrote to be responsible and move on. That's it. To be responsible and move on. So you take the accountability, apologize, and move on. So
That's right. Interrupt, recover, move. Oh, that's so awesome. And is there anything else? Are you complete?
It was it was, oh yes, what you said about the past, our thoughts. You said it today again, but you said that with my shouldas, that's the past, and we have to face reality. So that's fact. We talked about facts, and then we didn't go on from that. You said facts, and he was like, "That's it. It's just facts." And how do I deal? Yeah, how do I deal with that? Yeah.
Awesome.
So thank you for
You're
that.
welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. It was a joy working with you. And so I want to give another offer. I said earlier that I'm giving 2 classes, one on trust. Trust is $25, and it's a 3-hour class. That's on May 9th. That's going to be May 9th. And then I have another course, which is Clearing the Fog. And that's a very deep dive into your fear, your obligation, and how you deal with guilt. And you will get trained in interrupting those thoughts in those 3 areas. And you'll also have tools that you can use for yourself and your community. So those are the 2 offers that I'm giving you. And what I want to do is, so when you reach out to me, the prices will, and if you go to the website, those prices will be in the website. So if you go to any of these links right here, screenshot it, and then you can go to the link. And also, if you email me, we'll send you the link. And my email is meikaj74@gmail.com or healingthoughtsnow@gmail.com. So what I'm going to give today, just in the spirit of giving, is I'm going to give 2 people the trust class. That is $25. So I'm going to, and they'll be in that for free. And I'm going to give 1 person the Clearing in the Fog class. Right? So, yes. So let's do you have the info for the Facebookers?
That was from Bielka.
Okay.
Just to post what you put out there so they can have access as well. So you can pick 3 numbers, beloved. You can pick for the 2 folks that are taking the trust class and receiving that as a gift. You can pick numbers between 1 and 70, and then also for the person that's receiving, the 1 person that's receiving the other offer. What's the second offer, Meika?
So it's 2 people for trust, and the second offer is 1 person for Clearing the Fog.
All right. So you're picking 3 numbers between 1 and 7, and then Ash
So,
find them and then tell you who those people are once we get to the end, the very end.
okay, perfect. So the first number I'm going to pick is 17.
Okay.
I'm going to pick 37,
Beautiful.
and I'm going to pick 11.
11. All righty. Beautiful. So Ash will tally and find those awesome souls who are going to receive the offers that you put out there. And so while we do that, you want to talk about love offering, my lovely Meika? You want to talk about the
Yes. So as we always talk about, money is energy, and I accept money. I love money. And, you know, when I do my love exercise, I always include money, right? Me and money are cool. We love each other. So you can cash at me, you can Zelle me. If you want to cash at me, any donations, $1, it all makes a difference. It's this flow of energy. So as you give, it comes back. And so my cash app is my name, Meika Joseph, $ with Meika Joseph. And the Zelle is my email, which is meikaj74@gmail. And I appreciate all who have donated and contributed to me on these three workshops. You guys have been phenomenal and amazing, and I appreciate everything. And even your listening, listening to me, I acknowledge it and I appreciate it, and I love each and every one of you. I may not know you, but your life, your essence, it is important to me. And I am here. If no one has told you today, this week, this month, I am telling you, I love you and thank you. Ash, do we have those numbers? I love you too, Stacy.
So Meika, who we got? Number 17 and 37. 17 is Carolyn Gainey. Love you, Carolyn. And then 37 is Kimberly Osler. Love you, Kimberly Osler. Those are my peeps. And number 11, I do not want to mispronounce your name, is Angele, Angle. So we want to make sure that there's an acknowledgement. That's the right pronunciation?
Yes, you beautifully. Thank you.
All right. So you are a winner, beloved, of the single one, Meika. What was the single one?
That's Clearing the Fog. That is
all right, Clearing the Fog. All right, excellent. And we need acknowledgement from Kimberly Osler and Carolyn Gainey. We want to hear you affirm that you're accepting this. Otherwise, we'll have to pick someone else or 2 other people. So we need to hear your voices and say yes to Meika's offer. So Kimberly, if you're there, unmute yourself, beloved.
Yes, I accept.
All right, beautiful.
Yay!
And Carolyn Gainey, you there? I know where you live. Maybe she can't unmute, so let's see. Carolyn, you there?
Thank you. Accept it.
All right.
Okay, so Carolyn is in trust.
Yes.
And Kimberly is also in trust. Let's get it.
All right, beautiful. Thank you for accepting. And Monica Dennis, I saw you come off mute. I didn't know if there was something you wanted to say or if that was an accident. Well, there are no accidents, but if you want to say something, you can speak up now before we transition.
Nothing to say, but I can express my deepest gratitude for today and for this whole series. Really appreciate y'all.
All right, awesome. Thank you. We received that.
Yes,
all right, so
Meika.
So I'm gonna put this out there because Meika, we coach each other, we inspire each other. So this morning, this lady was like, listen, what we doing next? Because wake up ain't over, right? We need to keep waking people up. And I was in another story. I was just like, oh, we get our word to 30 days. And this will continue in another iteration, but we'll wait till later. And it's like, no, that's future-based and that's not in reality. All we have is now. So for those of you, all 67 souls who are on this this Zoom space or in the Zoom space right now, please trust and know that more is to come. And I'm going to be co-creating with the awesome, masterful people that have been on my team, supporting the facilitator so that we can vision about what's next, so that next Monday doesn't end anything. It's actually the commencement or the manifestation of what's next for all of us. So we can keep shaking up the world. And I'm going to put out my vision. What I gave my word to as a being on the planet is to have a global impact. So my purpose is to utilize the word in all forms to ignite mind, body, spirit transformation across the planet. I can only do that with all of you. So who you know in Trinidad, who you know in Zimbabwe, who you know in Bangladesh, invite them into the space. And so that we can experience a global waking up, a global calling, a global transformation, because we can do that because we're awesome like that. So Meika, thank you for the nudge, for the slap, for just the inspiration. I love you so much. I really do.
Yeah.
So who's up next? Who's up next is my beloved Kinyofu. Y'all need to know that without Kinyofu, the tech stuff would not be how it unfolds every morning. Like her mind, the way it works is just so phenomenal. And so we have a tech crew, but she is the mother, the matriarch of the technology that we experience. So Ash, if you would, because my iPad, I love it. I'm not going to speak badly about it. It's frozen right now, so I'm not able to read the full offer for Kinyofu tomorrow. So if you can read that for us and the date, and then I can put out there how we can prepare for that session, I would appreciate it.
Yes, absolutely. Tomorrow's session is Village Matters. Participate, activate, elevate. And that's Thursday, April 23rd.
Yes, yes, yes. And all of these sessions are in alignment. If you go back and review the nuggets, the gold just keeps shining. Like if you look, all the applications, there's an intersectionality amongst all of the things that we've been talking about, from the movement to the essential oils, to leaning into loss and death, to resilience. Like all of it is co-created and it's collaborative and a contribution to the ever-swelling awakening that we are involved in. So we invite you to set your alarms, to tell other people. Please contact your auntie that lives in Arizona and your uncle that's in Jamaica, West Indies, so they can be in this space, please. And as you're able to create the gallery space, we want to pour love into our beloved Meika for all that she has provided these 3 sessions. I'm sad that we won't see you again, but we will, because we're manifesting another level of healing.
I don't know why you said. I don't know why you said. Because you're going to see me. You're going to see me. This community is going to see me. I don't know what she told. I don't know what that was.
All
that
right.
Was a nice conversation.
Johnny or Meika. Meika, hi, this is Jimena. Can you just give a little bit more info on the trust class? Like what that is, like what that's going to be going into, like how you did for the Clear the Fog?
So trust is about looking at all the areas, all the small areas of life that we all know, the big areas, like you don't trust government, we don't trust, the opposite sex, we don't trust love. We know the big areas, but there are small areas that are like thought bandits, right? That we don't trust. And when we don't trust, we don't allow. So if you are struggling with money, we look at certain aspects of your conversation that you don't trust about money. So whatever it is that you don't have in your life, there's an aspect of it that you want, but there's an aspect of it that you don't trust. So we uncover that.
Got it. Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Omena. So please, Ash, if you can unmute everybody and we can pour a love shower onto our beloved Meika.
Thank you. That's great as always.
Thank you, Meika. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Good night.
Wake up
Thank
call. Yes, happy Earth Day, everybody. Happy Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day.
Happy Earth Day, family. Love you all. Peace and blessings.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, Kinyofu.
Happy birthday.
Oh, that's right. Happy birthday, Kinyofu.
Happy birthday, lovely.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Queen
birthday.
Kinyofu.
Happy birthday to you.
Birthday.
Thank you, Meika. That was masterful.
Thank you. You're welcome.
you. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Praises.
You're
Praise.
welcome. You're very welcome.
Asheo.
Asheo.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. This was awesome.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Have an awesome day, everybody.
You too.
Yes.
Have a great day, everyone.
You too. You too.
All
You're
right.
welcome. You're welcome. Happy birthday. No food.
All right. So I am signing us all off. See you tomorrow. Meika, meet us in the debriefing room, sis.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, Ash.
Hi, everyone.
Yes.
Ash, you have to leave in the meeting because I can't do it. My screen is frozen.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, beloved. Oh, it didn't move.